Hi folks, had a couple of requests to do a video on disassembling the Stevens Model 85, so we're going to dive right into that. Of course, the first step with disassembling any firearms is to make sure that it's unloaded, so we're going to remove the magazine. We'll check that, make sure there's no rounds in that. And we'll also check the breech, make sure there's no rounds there, that's clear. Once we've done that, we can take a screwdriver and loosen the nut on the bottom of the magazine housing. And that will allow us to separate the stock and the barreled action. Get that loosened up. And once that's removed, we can pull the stock and the action apart and set the stock aside. Alright, we'll need to release the tension that's on the striker. So to do that, I'm going to pull back the cocking handle, pull the trigger with the safety in the off position, and ease the striker ahead. Now the rifle is at this point in time no longer cocked. The next step, we're going to unscrew the retaining nut at the back of the receiver. And once we've unscrewed that, we can set it aside. And we'll grab a hold of the recoil spring, pull that to the rear, and out with that comes our striker, which is a unit which also contains the recoil spring, and that's basically captive all in one piece. We got our firing pin. We can then pull the cocking handle out completely, and this is a little bit of a tricky bit to get the bolt out. You can pull the bolt back about this far, and then try to force it to the rear as much as possible. And you may want to use your firing pin as a tool here, just to shove the bolt back as far as you can get it, and pull the trigger, and the bolt will come out. And that basically right there is the field stripped rifle. We can further disassemble the magazine for cleaning, and to disassemble the magazine for cleaning, we'll need a small punch, or in this case I'm going to use a 3/32 Allen screw, or Allen wrench, sorry. And there's a hole in the bottom of the magazine, which if I hold it up closer here you might be able to see. And if we hold the punch into the magazine, we can use that to pry the magazine base plate back. And we can pry that off to the rear. And once that's off, we can remove the spring and the follower. Note the orientation of the follower, which is like that. So when we have that apart, we can scrub our magazine out well, get all the powder fouling and crap out, lightly lubricate, and reassemble. Put the magazine floor plate back on. Helps to have something to push the floor plate back on with until it snaps in place. There we go. Too far there. Alright. Okay. Now we'll continue reassembling. Once we've done our cleaning inside the receiver, you want to get all the powder fouling out, any lead shavings, etc., etc. We're not going to bother doing that for the purposes of the video here because that would take too long. We'll reinsert our bolt. Pull the trigger to let the bolt go ahead. We're going to reinsert our striker assembly. The firing pin goes on the striker assembly like that. You can see the relationship of those two parts. The firing pin and the striker assembly go into the back of the bolt. Put your thumb on the back, pull the trigger to push the bolt home. Now we're going to have to pull the striker mechanism back out again so we can get the cocking knob in. So we'll pull it back. Now we'll put the cocking knob back in with the slot facing up. And we're going to put our striker and firing pin assembly back in. Put it in that far, pull the trigger so that it eases ahead. Put the end cap back on. Snug that up tightly. Get our stock. Put the stock back. Check to make sure the screw is tight. A function check. Everything seems to be working okay. Put the magazine back in place. And that's it. Pretty simple gun, all steel, with the exception of the pot metal trigger guard. But that's about it. So hopefully that's of some help for those of you who are inquiring. So we'll talk to you later.